This video will spoil the entire story for Penacony 2.0, so I strongly recommend that you play through it yourself first before watching. We have finally arrived at Penacony, and there is almost too much to go over, even without all of the different agendas everyone seems to have. So without further ado, let's dive into the Dreamscape. First of all, let's investigate Acheron. She is by far one of the most mysterious characters in this entire story. According to Aventurine, she is an emanator of an unknown aeon, who spreads death and finality. Let's assume that Aventurine is speaking the truth for now, as there is just too little confirmed information about Acheron. At the very beginning, we are pulled into a dreamscape together with Acheron, and she explains that her dream is linked to ours, so we share the same thoughts. Inside this dream, we can listen to some of the illusions standing around in the hotel lobby.
Memo Keeper, do you think you can just leave?
I'm sorry. The dance partner of my choice, I've already chosen.
Memo Keeper, did you think you could just leave?
I'm sorry, my dear. My dream dance partner? I've already got sights in someone else.
All of the illusions are talking about events that haven't happened yet. So these are all things that will happen in the future. Acheron herself even talks about knowing how things will end, and asks us what choice we would make. And then there is the mystery of the red text. Acheron's text is different for unknown reasons. The answers she gave me during the quest can be completely different from the answers she gave you. This all sounds to me that she knows what she has to say in order to influence the future. And there are only two aeons capable of knowing the future: Nous the Erudition and Terminus the Finality. And since Acheron has no connection to Nous whatsoever, I think Terminus is our best bet. Sadly, this is the most we can say about Acheron for now. We just have to wait for more information about her later. But first, let's go back to our first arrival at Penacony. From the very beginning, Aventurine has been trying to create friendships with as many factions as possible. His reasons are actually really simple. He wants to reclaim Penacony for the IPC. He sees the Charmony Festival as a huge opportunity to rise within the IPC, so he's mostly focused on freeing Penacony from the grasp of the family. He has talked with the Astral Express crew, the Intelligentsia Guild, the Garden of Recollection and the Masked Fools. He even negotiated with the members of the families themselves. However, when he was talking to Dr. Ratio, his manner of speaking was slightly different than when he was speaking with the other factions.
Ruined everything.
It's nothing more than a few rocks. Why so serious? Who cares if they're gone?
Oh, come on, lighten up! Why so serious with all the quotations and references? My dear, why so serious? Spitballing here. Don't take it so seriously. Why so serious?
You're funny, I'll give you that. It appears our erudite friend has done his homework.
What's the purpose of your visit to Penacony?
My purpose. You're funny. What else can I do?
If you ask me, that invite is nothing but a self-planted diversion. A red herring.
Let's pretend we were misled by a red herring.
Why is there a smoked red herring there?
This could of course be a coincidence, but to me it seems really suspicious that he suddenly starts using Sparkle's catchphrases. If this is actually Sparkle, the conversation between Sparkle and Aventurine also makes a bit more sense. Sparkle insults him the exact same way Dr. Ratio did during their conversation.
Fun fact, the Atini Peacock boasts one of the universe's more jarring songs, and your choice of attire is somewhat peacock-esque.
How did you do it, little peacock? Did you strip yourself naked, apologize to him on your knees, and promise that the IPC would never harm Penacony?
Without that Aventurine stone, you're nothing more than a doomed Sigonian thrall, sentenced to die by the IPC. Or is that serial number on your neck a cherished memento from the Amber Lord?
As for Sparkle herself, she also plays a major role in all of this, but mostly behind the scenes. For example, when she was disguised as Sempo and showed us the dream of Tatalov the Garbage King, the entire dream had very close references to the actual storyline in Penacony. There is even a note that very closely resembles the Watchmaker's advice, which is now Sempo's advice. The world of the trash cans seems to be a paradise under the rule of Tatalov the Garbage King. However, the underlying problems caused a lot of harm for the trash cans. They want to solve the problems, but they can't for various reasons. They need someone from the outside to stir up things in order for their plans to move forward. And when that person finally arrives, they make them face the real obstacle all alone, without knowing what comes next. Firefly interrupted the dream before it could be revealed what the outcome of the struggle was, which is very suspicious. Why would she want to prevent the truth Sparkle wanted to reveal to come out? Speaking of Firefly, she has a couple of secrets worth talking about as well. First of all, why does she know so much about combat? The way she analyzed Sempo's movement and body language revealed that she had a lot of experience with fighting, be it fighting herself or coming into contact with many fighters.
I wondered whether he was a friend of yours, but my instincts told me he wasn't. He's about 5 feet, 9 inches tall, give or take. Judging from his strong build, it's clear that he's well trained. He walks in long strides, but his steps are light and barely audible. That way of walking doesn't leave footprints. He looks like a skilled fighter, the covert kind. He has large palms, yet his fingers are slender and nimble. I reckon he has experience using knives, like a short sword or dagger. Do you know anybody like that? A maroon jacket, emerald eyes, dark blue hair. Ah, he's coming our way!
This doesn't add up at all, since she is supposed to be a sick girl suffering from an illness, which makes her slower than others until she completely disappears. So the only conclusion I can draw is that either she has a method of fighting without actually using her body, or she supports someone else without going into combat herself. Then there is another contradiction in Firefly's words.
I still remember the question on the invitation letter. Why does life slumber?
She says that she remembers the words on the invite, but that can only be true if she had received an invite herself, has written it herself, or has received or stolen it from someone else. I don't think she wrote the invite herself, because if she is looking for the Watchmaker's legacy just like the other factions, why would she invite more competition to Penacony if she wanted to secure it for herself? I think it's more logical if Firefly had received it. But then the question arises, from what faction did she receive it? It's not the Astral Express, not the Garden of Recollection since she isn't a memo keeper, and because she is not part of the family herself, there are only a few options left. The IPC, the Masked Fools, the Everflame Mansion, and the Stellaron Hunters. Although the IPC seems incorrect, since they sent Aventurine, one of their 10 Stonehearts. They wouldn't send a random second person, unless they had something to gain from it. The Masked Fools also would be strange, since Sparkle didn't recognize her at all. Sadly, this is as far as I can go, because we just lack the information about Firefly herself. And even though I might sound insane in the future, I truly believe that Firefly has strong ties to either the Everflame Mansion or the Stellaron Hunters. However, this is not the end to the strangeness surrounding her. To me, her death looked very weird. Inside the Dreamscape, we have 2 different deaths caused by the something unto death meme. Firefly and Robin. Both were killed the exact same way. A single strike through the chest by something unto death's blade. However, there is something strange in these scenes. Firefly instantly bursts into liquid after being stabbed. But Robin's body was still intact for a long time. Her body only dissipated after we entered the room with Aventurine. And since Aventurine knew of Robin's dead body, she must have been there for quite a while. Somehow, they both suffered the same exact death, but it had completely different outcomes. Maybe Firefly survived the attack, or maybe she didn't. But I do think there is more to this death than meets the eye. Then there is Robin herself. Why was she inside the true Dreamscape in the first place? I have to admit that I didn't manage to figure this one out or even vaguely speculate about the reason, so I apologize to everyone who wanted to know. There is one last thing about something unto death. It seems to kill specific targets. It had the opportunity to kill Firefly earlier, but it didn't, and when we encountered it again, it could have easily struck Black Swan, Acheron, or the Trailblazer, but it instantly went for Firefly. So I think it's safe to assume it only kills when it's supposed to. And lastly, to wrap this up, I wanted to talk about Black Swan's link with Aventurine. Black Swan's only goal is to reclaim Penacony for the Garden of Recollection and the IPC. She recognizes that Aventurine is capable of doing it, but he will need help from the Trailblazer, so she doesn't really have any bad intentions for now. There are still a lot of mysteries still remaining on Penacony, such as who is the Watchmaker and what is their legacy? What is something unto death and why does it exist? What are Acheron's goals? Why was Robin inside the true Dreamscape and why was she killed? Who is Firefly really? What does Sparkle know? What was wrong with Robin's voice? And who sent the invite to the factions? And as much as I would like to explain them all, I have no idea yet and I am just as curious as you are. But I hope this video helped explain at least a couple of things. And as always, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one. Bye!